Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I feel actually very proud to be able to present to you one of those special dishes which most chefs and most people at home think twice to do, purely because it is so time consuming. And yes, you're right, it is Nihari. You can see the piece of steak in front of me, also the bones here, and some of the spices that I am going to use in there. Now what I'm going to do now is get my machine started. I'm putting it on just on any setting so that it can start heating up. I'm going to add a little bit of oil in here. I'll add the ghee a little bit later. Now I've used a nice cut of meat. This is actually called shin. You can see it's pure meat here. And I'm going to cut it up into cubes. And I want you to see what the cubes look like eventually when they're cooked through. This piece is very thick. I can actually half it here. But the idea of this meal is to have those cubes of meat in here. So I'm going to keep them quite big. I've also got the bones, but I'm not putting the bones in at this point because I want the meat to sear first and get some of the juices released before I put anything else. If I put the bones in now, they'll start releasing the liquids, and of course I won't be able to sear my meat very well. Just have a look if the pan is ready. Yes, it is. I'm going to add a little bit more oil there. I'll add the ghee in later because I don't want it burning up. Now in this recipe, I'm using about just under 1 kilo of meat and a little less than 1 kilo of the bones. I wouldn't recommend that you cook more than 1 kilo meat and 1 kilo bones at one time in this pot because you don't want to add water. So stick to 1 kilo each if you have to prepare for a bigger group. But if not, the way I'm preparing it, it will still serve at least 6 to 8 people. There we have it. My meat is almost done. Now, anyone who's been in the kitchen would tell you how long it would really take to cook this, the meat in this form. With that, I can add in at this stage just some of the jeera. I'm not putting too much because there is a lot of that still in my garam masala. I lightly washed this meat early before I put it on the chopping board and drained it. I'm going to now give it a bit of a stir, and once it starts releasing its juices, then I'll add the rest of the ingredients in. Now the bones I've kept in the water because I don't want to dry them out completely. I need a little bit of that moisture to go into the curry as well, because remember, again, this is such an intense dish which is usually boiled for about 4 to 6 hours. We're using no water at all. All right? I'll add in a little bit of the ghee now. The meat is sizzling away quite nicely. I'll put in just one. Again, you'll notice I'm going slow on the spice because I've got a lot of these spices already in my garam masala. starting from the front now. I'll start off firstly with my ginger garlic paste. I'm putting about 2 spoonfuls in here. My tej and ilachi. That's always good to put in at the early stage of your meal so that it actually absorbs the odors from the meat. I'm putting about 2 cloves in. Like I said, in a meal like this you'd probably use more, but because of the intensity of my garam masala, I don't want the meal to be overspiced. The jeeru is in. I'm putting in some salt. At this stage, I'm just putting about 2 spoons. I can always add more at the end of the meal. And with that, I'm going to balance it with a spoon of aromat. It also enhances the flavor. Put in some more garlic here. There comes the haldi. Now you'll agree with me, this is really a very intense meal. It's got a lot of spices, but when it's cooked, I want to finish it in a smooth gravy. I'm just putting half, which I normally put more. That's my dana. And the jeeru, I'll put a little bit more. But again, I have more of that in my garam masala, so I don't want to overdo it. A little bit of the fine red chilies, just a little because I don't want it too strong. I've got some chili in my garam masala as well. I'm just using about half a spoon there. All my spices are in. I'm going to give it one nice toss over. There we have it. My meat is nicely coated with all the spices. I'm going to add in my onions now. Remember, the major part of this gravy is going to be the stock from the bones and the onions. No tomatoes in here. Just toss it around again. Okay, now I'm just going to drop my bones in without really draining them. There we are. I'll leave this little Philips pressure cooker cooking away while I go and do something else. Fine, my time is now up. As I said, if you want the meat more done, depends on different cuts, they may take a little longer. So to be safe, as much as the timer can do it in 45 minutes, I would say take it to an hour because different cuts may take a little longer. An hour should give you a perfect finish like you're going to see now. I've depressurized my cooker. Always remember, even after you've depressurized, switch your machine off over here. So you don't want it to stay warm, otherwise it'll continue cooking. I'm going to remove the lid now. Now there you have it. If you look at the amount of gravy that has still remained in here, and this is all pure stock. To give you an idea, the meat is completely done. And if you look at the bones, that's what's left of them. So it's cooked through. All those juices are in here. We didn't add water at all. Now what I'm going to do, this is the time to put it in your trophy pot and present it and say, I've done this. But if you don't want to, and if you want to finish the meal in this, in that it's quite crammed in here, I'm going to remove the bones to give me a bit of space, and then I'm going to finish my gravy. Now, if you prefer to have it with the bones, some of your guests may even enjoy the bones. Believe me, these are cooked through perfectly. Then you're welcome to leave them in your meal. But as I've said, the traditional serving is just pure meat, chunks of meat in fact, in a nice thick and smooth gravy. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, you can now determine how much gravy you want. This is how much is here. This is pure stock. And to finish this off, it's up to you how much gravy you want. So to do that, I'm going to use some flour. I'm just adding a little bit of water in this cup. I'm going to switch my stove on again. So the cooker is now burning, and it will start heating up again. And I'm going to put some flour into here. I'm using a little bit of water so that it doesn't become lumpy, and I can control it quite nicely. If I need to add more water or more flour, I can do that. All right, there we are. I'm quite happy. My time is up. I've thickened my gravy. Let's open the lid and see what the results are. You can hear it still cooking away there. And that's the consistency I have now. I'm switching my pot off, and I'm going to serve the meal. So here you have your beef nihari, which we've cooked in about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm serving it with some lovely rogni naan. Paratha would be just as nice to serve with this. The choice is yours. Some people like a bit of lemon. You could always serve the lemon on the side. So that'll be all from us today. And until we meet again, from Papa D's at the train, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.